Well, good morning, everybody. I just had a last minute panic then, but anyway, so many things have gone wrong this morning, but we won't talk too much about that. Bit of confusion with the fleet on some of the comms and tweets, going to emails and phone numbers and stuff, but Lutz is trying to sort that out. And yeah, a few other things. Then we weren't able to go live. The program wasn't working, and I did, but then the map wasn't there. And anyway, we're just about done. A couple of things that I was going to tell you about. Well, first of all, there's some weather coming, but it's just going to change the nature of the fleet. Just like, subscribe, and share if you can. Okay, there's still plenty of room to take more likes on Facebook. A lot of people commenting haven't liked the site, so that'd help us. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, that'd be cool if you could. We're getting about 5,000 people watching this tracker update, combined with, because it's on simultaneous on YouTube as well as Facebook. The tweets you may have seen, we're struggling because everyone's really strapped with all sorts of work going on. We're trying to get a press release out tonight. Jane's back. So we haven't got the tweets up on Facebook yet, but they are on the normal tweets that you can link to from the website, which is now called X, of course. That's another story. There was something else I was going to tell you about. Anyway, yeah, the tweets are quite fun. There's no dramas in the fleet at the moment. Just the funniest one was on Translated 9. First of all, the fridge broke down. That's a problem because that means the freezer's broken down, which means all your food for the next 4 or 5 weeks is going to go off. But they fixed the fridge, and then there was major dramas for an Italian boat with the coffee machine wasn't working, and but they found a spare part to get that fixed as well. So there's serious stuff going on board. Anyway, I've got the comments on, so you can pass comments. I'll see them, and I'll come back to answer those questions. And then today, I will put up a Q&A sign on Facebook. Later on, we let YouTubers come in and ask questions as well. But this will be particularly for Facebook. If you've got any questions about the race, any technical issues that are coming up, anything you need to know the answers to, if you put your questions in the comments, I'll come back hopefully over the weekend and answer those questions, as well as the questions that were put to me about probably nearly 3-4 weeks ago now that I never got to answer. I'll pick them up and answer them in this next Q&A session as well. So straight into the tracker. Also, there's a couple of funny things going on with our presentation screen. The screen that you're seeing now has a lot of light blue around the edges. It's not meant to be like that. The format's a little bit different. We're trying to actually work out what's going on, but we'll get there. For now, you can still see what's happening and appreciate the bits that are there. So the first thing, you can see the three groups in this format. You've got your tail enders back there, and sadly, Explorer is slipping back to be the lead boat in the tail enders. She's parked at the moment, not going anywhere. And we've got a distinct mid-fleet here, the four of them going through, and then we've got the leaders. And there's some interesting things going on. Before we get there, I'm just going to go through the leaderboard just to give you the technical side of what's happening. I'll just slide this up here so you can see the whole lot. So this is in line honours. That's first to last as they are on the water, which is pretty obvious. Penjuic, Helsinki, Translated. It goes through, and you've got the miles distance run in the last 24 hours. So Penjuic's done 218 nautical miles. Spirit of Helsinki, 208. Translated, 200. And Maiden, 196. So they're pretty much on a par to each other. It's quite amazing how close they really are. Moving back into the mid-fleet now, Spirit Equip's done 184, Neptune's 157, Outlaw 143, and Triana 173. So they're pretty much grouped, and you can see then when we go to the tail enders, the speeds drop back dramatically because they're just simply not getting the same weather. And we've seen that straight after the start as well. It's a bit of luck. But certainly if you're out there up the front, everything changes. It goes in groups. So last 24 hours, Explorer 79 miles, White Shadow 112, Evrika 93, Galliana 109, and Godspeed is doing 110. So even in relatively speeds, you've got the same sort of situation going on there. So then if we come into IRC, which is the handicapping version of the fleet, you'll see Maidens now. Oh, sorry, not right. That wasn't right. So translated 9, even though they're not lead boat, they're still leading under the handicap process. So translated is number 1. Then maiden Penduic is coming in third. She's got to stay in front of the whole fleet with a little bit more leg room there. He does rather, and to maintain that key position. So handicapping is the performance factor. It's what everyone tries to achieve, or those that are concentrating on handicap. I don't know where the Godspeed is, and I don't know where the Explorer is, but they're having a good ride. Triana's there at number 5. Then Neptune, Outlaw, the Spirit Equip down at 8. Explorer is number 9. They've been holding that all the way through. White Shadows kicked up a little bit. She's right under Explorer. Number 10, then Sterna, Galliana, Evrika, and Godspeed down the back. So remembering here, you click to the top of the leaderboard and it'll tell you what they are. You can go in classes. Triana is absolutely walking away in adventure class. Then it's followed by Outlaw. So Triana's sailing well to her rating. I know that was a big thing for them. They've done a bit of work to optimize their rating, and it's paying off right now, as well as their boat speed. They're right there. Then Sterna, then Galliana with Secure, and Godspeed down the back end. So that's that's handicapping for adventure class. In Sayula class, it's Spirit of Helsinki, and then Explorer and White Shadow right on the hammer, right only just behind Explorer, and then Evrika. Evrika's not had much luck with the weather for sure. She'll stretch her legs once she gets some sea room and gets in similar weather patterns. And then in flyer class, as we saw, it's translated 9, Maiden, Penduic, Neptune, and the Spirit Equip. So you can follow that really easy anytime. So we'll get rid of that. Come down to the course. We'll start with the tail enders. I'll just pick up here so I can actually. Oops, sorry, leg 1. We've got that, so I can actually walk you through. Now, this is current real-time weather. Looking at Godspeed, only doing 3.6 knots. There's a gentle breeze. It's probably 10, 12 knots, maybe a bit more on the beam. And that's all she can expect for now. 110 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, though, so that's okay. Stern has picked up a bit of breeze or got their biggest kite up or something, doing 7.6 knots. And Evrika doing 6.9 knots, so they're on the move, which is kind of cool. White Shadow, 5.7. Galliana, 6.2. Everyone's on the move except for Explorer. Explorer's still doing 2.7 knots. So the tail enders are now catching up to Explorer. She dropped out of the mid-pack. Hasn't been going very fast. She's been dropped in this hole. So that's what happens. Then oops, I should have left that there and dragged the fleet so I can play with the screen. So here's the mid-pack, pretty much sailing side by side. Outlaw 4.7. They've got a breeze coming from the, west-northwest at the moment, completely opposite to the other end. Everything's changing rapidly now because of the low pressure coming. And Neptune, same again, from the west, probably 5.2. The Spirit Equip, 5.1. She's got it from the southwest. They're all getting dished up in different types of weather, but moving as a group. And the same with the lead boats down here. I'll just pick that up so you can get a bit of a definition. Penduic out the front, clear on leaderboard, doing 7 knots with a westerly. And the others, they're getting this westerly 7.5 for 7.5. Anyway, translated is over here at 7.2 and Maiden 7.4. So again, they're getting pretty similar weather. So what's happening with the weather? Let's just kick it back here and have a look at the big picture. You can see the center of the low is just here at the moment. And that's going to move down in a southeasterly direction. It'll come south, southeast, and then it's finally going to hook around and it's going to play havoc. The winds are building here. I use Windy TY to give me the forecasting, but it's going to get quite strong. And the only thing it's doing here is, following the counterclockwise motion of a low pressure system in the northern hemisphere, right? It's going to start sending headwinds to the rest of the fleet. You've probably seen the post on Facebook, which is talking about the weather alert that I've given them, and it's going to get uncomfortable for the mid fleet, but they'll have a little bit of it, and then the tail enders are going to get a couple of days of it, so they're going to luck out on this one. So if we start clicking it through, I think this scale is probably the best thing to give you the best impression. Every time I hit this is an hour, so that you can see each of the fleets are going to have a different effect. But certainly the leading group, they should roll with this when they get there southwesterly. They'll just hold on a starboard tack. You'll see them probably fall away a little bit and start heading towards the coast of Portugal, but they'll maintain one leg, and pretty quickly as they go further south, when they're down here, oh, cheapest. Sorry, that sometimes happens. I'm talking about the lead group. We'll just follow the lead group and show you the impact of this changing weather. So this is about 7 o'clock tonight. They've already, as they've made their way south a bit, they'll just have it on the beam, and so they'll just speed up. They'll just speed up and really clear out. And the distances that we're talking, if I go here, there's 70 odd miles. It's about 10 hours away. They're well and truly in the clear. And if I come back on this, you'll see. I'll get rid of that. Go back to the weather. You'll see as it's changing, they'll get underneath it. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Yeah, they'll be ahead of this change. So you'll see as they're coming down, the wind is on the beam or on the quarter, and they'll just pick up speed and rocket away. At the same time, you can see very clearly that the middle group, if we pick this up, I'll take the weather back a little bit. By 9 o'clock tonight, they're still going to be in these headwinds. So you're going to see all sorts of things going on here, whether they start tacking, whether they decide to get across the other side or whatever. So you'll see this fleet, they could all do different actions because effectively they're going to have headwinds. And those headwinds are going to slowly increase as the low pressure system goes south, and then it starts to turn across to the southeast, and it's very quickly picking up to 25, 28 knots. But they'll have the advantage. This is at 8:30 tomorrow morning, 24 hours away, and by 24 hours, even with that headwind, they'll probably be somewhere down around here. Okay, so by tomorrow morning, when this wind's just about to start increasing, they may get a break. You can see it coming from the southwest, right? So they'll close the coast probably. They'll start heading down here in the headwinds, and they'll squeak right past Lisbon, and they may just hold it. And by then, they'll probably get through, and it'll all be over by, within 24 hours for them. Okay, so you can see as they're pushing south, they're getting a better slant, and I think you'll see the mid group just squeak through. So they've got one day of headwinds. The tail enders, unfortunately, they're going to really cop it. They're really going to be trapped on the wrong side of the low. If I come back to something like tonight, okay, so you'll see this is about 8 o'clock tonight. The wind will have already changed. Explorer's probably going to have breeze. Some of the boats down the back here, they may get caught in that hole, and it'll be slow progress. I'm pushing it through. This is here we go. So this is 8 o'clock tonight, then 9 o'clock going through towards midnight. So as soon as they get there, they've got this south or southeasterly coming southeast. So Explorer may just run down the edge of this, holding it in reasonable conditions. And over the other side here, you've got 40 knots gusting 50 and 60. And so the sea state will come across. You'll see the waves. This is the definition. This is where it's picking up to 3 and 4 meters. So Explorer will probably peel off here as they get into follow that lighter breeze towards the middle of the low. The sea will start to build. It'll pick up to 3 meters, 4 meters with a light wind that's slowly building, light headwind, and then they'll probably tack away. It's a bit hard to predict exactly what they'll do. And the tail enders, they're going to get this headwind for some time. So pushing it through to the 16th, this is 24 hours later. Okay, so for the tail enders, 24 hours later, okay, they're all going to be probably pushed out a little bit towards the middle. And some of them may make the decision, depending on the timelines and where they are, to head across and go to the edge of these big winds. At least it's the right direction. So it's really hard to predict on this one what they'll actually do. But it's certainly a tactic. Get on the other side of the low and ride it. But I'm not sure. It's very hard to say. They may follow it down, but then you'll see this low starts to come back on the 16th. I've given them a weather report just to let them know what's going on. But if we follow this, you'll see the center of the low, it gets a little bit lighter and it starts to come up here. And by then the fleet will be about here. So they may then ride and hook in the other side of it. That's what I'd probably be thinking of doing if they're getting good weather reports. If their weather faxes are working, you can see it's not too bad down this side here. A lot better than this side. So hope that's a very real option, and you may see that happen. This is 2 days from now. Here we go, 2 days from now, and you're absolutely better off on this side of the low than the other. I'm starting to waffle on a bit here, but I just want to show you what's going on. I'll come out. Meanwhile, too far. Meanwhile, the lead boats, you can't see it, the lead boats will have rocketed away completely. So this is the 17th, and this is not pretty if they're coming down there. I think that's probably enough to see. Let's go for a big picture look and just see what the low then starts to break apart, and it's not as strong, but they'll quickly get back into, after the weekend. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we're on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, by Sunday it's all over. End of Sunday it's all over. And whoever's left, wherever they're scattered, they'll get these consistent northwesterlies that'll probably turn into a westerly, and they'll get a northerly, and they'll get a ride down the coast. So, it's going to be an interesting weekend. I think that's all I can tell you. There's not a lot going on with currents here, I don't believe. We'll have a look. No favourable currents. Cloud-wise, clouds. This is back after the weekend on Saturday. A bit of a mixed bag with clouds. There's a bit of rain in the low pressure system, but that's about it. So I think we're just about done. I'll come back here and I'll quickly go through the questions if there's anything here. Which boat we are talking to between themselves? That's all cool. I'll come back right to the beginning. New Zealand's watching. No coffee. Yeah, that was a bummer. Sunny London. Hello from Iceland. Thanks for the updates. Good morning, Don. G'day. My English lesson is starting. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, Annie. Single Caprice 3, not a single cloud, full of sunshine. Yep, for sure. Enjoying the stuff. Good work, Caprice. Why did Godspeed go so far back towards the UK at the start? I actually have no idea. When they're due to call, next time they call, I don't think I asked them last time. So I'll try and find out next time we're chatting. Godspeed went back so far because the crew were enjoying themselves. Absolutely. Party time's never far away for Godspeed. The rules state that it's mandatory that a female on board an OGR boat. That's right, fair enough. Why isn't it mandatory that a male be on board? No, it's not mandatory that females on board. It's mandatory that it's a mixed gender crew. Okay, so all the boats have to have a mix. And in the case of Maiden, we gave them a special dispensation for historical reasons because they sailed as an all-women crew in the Whitbread, and that's part of the fun. So we gave them a dispensation. As a vet, g'day Roy, as a 73 for Whitbread on adventure, I'm loving this 50th anniversary, staying dry and spectating. Yeah, right. I bet you. That sounds cool. Glad you're following. Also, Roy, which boat are we on? Well, I'm not sure. He's on Adventure. Adventure is the boat. We named a class after Adventure, which was a military entry, Navy entry. They swapped out all their crews on every leg so they could get a bunch of sailors on there. They also, unbeknown to me, I heard this from Barry or Che. No, one of the Adventure crew, I think it was. They put a brand new set of sails on board the boat for every leg because they bought 5 or 6 of the Nicholson 55s to as sail training ships in the UK. They entered one in the original Whitbread, and so they used a set of new sails on every boat and then gave the older sails back to one of the other boats, trying to be hot. And if it wasn't, the Nicholson 55 also has a trim tab on the keel, on the trailing edge of the keel, the same as the Swan 55 that Tapio is sailing. And the trim tab, you imagine you've got your normal rudder at the back of the boat, but the trim tab on the trailing edge of the keel is meant to balance up the boat, which adds a performance factor. And I don't know whether that's actually considered in their IRC rating, but it has a wheel inside the wheel. If you look at Tapio's boat, other photos, you'll see it's got the outside wheel, and then it's got another wheel on the inside to steer the trim tab. They ended up breaking their steering on Adventure, couldn't fix it. So I think it was the last leg they actually steered with their trim tab on the keel, which was really inefficient, and that really cost them the race. And that's why Sayula actually would have, or there's some suggestion that had they not broken their steering, they may have stayed ahead of Sayula and won instead. But that's conjecture, and anyway, that's racing. Sayula maybe prepared their boat better, so that's why their steward didn't break. So anyway, enough of that. We've probably seen enough for today. We'll see you tomorrow for another update, and keep an eye out for the questions and answers. See you later. Thanks a lot.